Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is a super exciting day today. I am here with Karuna. I,
Hello.
I started working with Karuna around 2 months ago now, just over. She came to me as a complete beginner in sales, working a very full-on 9 to 5. And I remember distinctly, Karuna, when we had our call and when we met for the very first time, the drive that you had to make it work. Like it was never an if with Karuna, it was always a when. And when I meet women like Karuna, I always get super excited because I see what they can't see, which is the success that they're about to have around the corner. And lo and behold, here we are 2 months later, and Karuna is making 10K per month part-time alongside her full-time corporate job. I know this story will definitely serve as an inspiration to women who have been in their career for a while and don't know whether they should take the step out or shouldn't. Maybe they're a bit unhappy and they want more to life. And yeah, I hope this will serve as inspiration to show that there is another way. Karuna is 28 years old. She's worked as an optometrist for nearly 3 years. And now here she is embarking on a whole new career path, which is just incredible. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Welcome, Karuna. And I guess my first question, I'd love for you to just take us back. Before high ticket sales, the thought process of wanting to embark on a journey like this and having that complete career change. Like, how did this all come about?
Firstly, thanks so much for having me, Shelley. So taking everyone all the way back, I started working my full-time job as an optometrist around 3 years ago, and I enjoyed what I did. I found it super good. It was very satisfying. I had the opportunity to help everyone, help people. But I feel like there came a point when I just wasn't like feeling super fulfilled. Like I felt like I could be doing a lot more. And I had certain goals in mind, like especially with income, with time, spending more time with my family, doing a lot more things like traveling and things like that, which I felt like just wasn't possible with the income and the current situation that I was in. And I think it was for me just like a build up of all of this over time. Like I think I was feeling this way for maybe like a few months or maybe even like a few years or so. And there came a point where I felt like I had to make a change. And I was like, I have to do something, whether I do sales, whether I do something else, I have to do something because I'm just not happy where I am at the moment. And that's where it really all started. And for me as well, I guess another sort of extra thing to add on is my brother's actually in sales and he's been in sales for a few years now. And I've seen his progression over time, and he's actually worked with Shelley as well, in the same offer. So I've seen the results that are possible in this space, and I thought, like, it's worth giving it a shot, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. And I know a lot of women watching this will relate massively to that of feeling like your current job is safe, but it's not enough. It's not providing you that freedom and that income that you ultimately want. So, do you think there was a catalyst for you, or what was the catalyst for you that really made you go, you know what? I'm gonna bet on myself. Like I'm going to step outside my comfort zone. Because yes, your brother's done it, but still that's a huge step for you to then try and follow in those footsteps. So how did that come about?
100%. I think what it was is just in terms of with my work and everything, like I feel like I was putting in a lot of hours, I was doing a lot, putting in effort into my work, but I just maybe wasn't able to like increase my income or feel that extra fulfillment that I felt at the start. Obviously, first time working as a full-timer, it's exciting, like you're making a lot of money, but then over time, I felt like my income, I just wasn't able to increase it as much as I would have liked. And perhaps I was maybe close to the ceiling as well. So that's how I, and my income goal, it's always been, trying to get to the six-figure range. And I feel like in the position that I'm in, it wouldn't be feasible for maybe like a few years basically. And it's just a lot of time I feel like is spent in this, which I could be spending doing other things. So I just wanted to do a lot of things and I feel like I felt limited in the situation that I was. And that's really the motivation for me because I feel like I don't like to settle. I always want to be achieving more, challenging myself. And I think that's where I really reached my limit. And I was like, I felt myself genuinely just going to work every day and just feeling like I was in such a routine. I wanted to escape it, basically. That was what drove me.
Yeah, 100%. No, I totally know that feeling very well. And I think for you, obviously, you went down the education route and you went down the education route, and then that took you into a quote unquote stable 9 to 5, right? So, and now obviously with things changing, times are changing, there is so many ways that you can make income, like you said, by working smarter and still obviously hard, but just in a different avenue. So, do you think, Karuna, you had any limiting beliefs around getting into the sales space, considering you'd always gone down that more traditional path?
100%. I can definitely say hand on heart that I probably was the most fearful prospect ever. Like I had every limiting belief under the sun. I had every objection under the sun. I think my brother actually handled a lot of my objections that I had initially. So I always was following the traditional route, like go to college, university, do your study and then land a job. It's just safe that way. I just wasn't really ready to take on extra risks if I didn't know that there was a guarantee that it was going to work out. So for me, taking that jump, I think was a really, really big thing for me because if you would have asked me like a year ago, I would have said you're crazy. Like there's no way that I'm going to be going into something where I don't even know if I'm going to succeed or if I'm going to have the security because with this space in sales, it's so like volatile as well. Like you're not going to be earning the same income every month or even every day, to be honest. Like you could be earning similar every month, but it's very different. And going into an industry like that, I feel like firstly, I had to really handle my own fear. Like I think I just did a bit of like introspection, self-reflection. I sat down and I was like, what have I done the past few years and where has it got me? Like, that's what I thought about firstly. And then I was like, okay, if I continue doing this, the next few years are going to be like the same progression. And the progression was like maybe like that. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't even like that. It was like very, very slow. So for me, it was like what can I do now to try to like get like that exponential type of growth? And so obviously having like a bit of a proven concept with my brother, and then like I found Shelley's videos and I saw her testimonials and previous case studies as well. That just really gave me the extra push in making me feel like confident that if I do take this next step, that like I will have the support to hopefully guide me in the right direction. I didn't know when it would happen. I was thinking a bit more long term as well, like maybe it would happen few months or like several months actually after, but yeah, if you told me like it would happen in 2 months, I would have been like, there's no way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember you saying that now. I remember us having a call, and every sales call I have, I always ask the goals because I really want to make sure if I'm working with someone, I'm setting very realistic expectations. And I remember you saying, like, I'd love to quit my job by like the end of the year.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe make like income to replace my job by the end of the year. So it's pretty crazy looking at it, how quickly it's gone.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I remember our first call together. I was like to Shelley, like I want to be earning 10K a month and hopefully reach that goal by the end of the year. And I think I remember the date as well. I booked the call with you on 19th of April and it's now like it's early July right now. So the timeline's really, really like quick. I don't know how it's all happened, but yeah, I think that was definitely a like a turning point in my life. And I'm so grateful that I booked that call with you because it was just like a really, really big step for me in just, taking that leap of faith, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned just a while back about there was no like you wouldn't usually take a step like this unless there was a guarantee. And that comes up a lot, right? There's so much talk in the industry of we're going to guarantee you this placement or we're going to guarantee you this result, 10K in 90 days. But now you've seen, and I don't do that because I'm very much set on like, there's no guarantees. The guarantee is you have to come in, work hard, I have to meet you halfway, and we're in it together. So, what was that like coming in, knowing you weren't being sold a dream, you weren't being sold a guarantee? It was all on you. Like, how did that feel?
100%. I think definitely at the start it was a bit scary because obviously investing into yourself and going into something new where there's no guarantee. I think I really had to sit down and tell myself that in fact nothing is guaranteed in life except death and taxes, right? So the only thing that's guaranteed is like your work ethic, your mindset. So if you put your mind to something and if you literally do like whatever it takes, and that's one thing I really liked about you, Shelley. Um, I just felt like if I do whatever it takes and if I can, find the right vehicle to get there, then I think no matter what, I will get there eventually. Whether it's like a month, whether it's in like 6 months, like 8 months, whatever it is, eventually I'll get there if I do the inputs required. So I think that was definitely super important as well.
Yeah, 100%. I always say you can't fail if you never quit. It may take you triple the time it was ever meant to take, for example, which in your case, luckily it hasn't. It's gone much quicker, but you can't fail. And I think that's the most important takeaway, really, is for everyone watching. If you want a guarantee and you want to lean back on it, the guarantee will only come if you're prepared to kind of put in the work, like Karuna has, like myself has, to actually do what needs to be done. And we're going to get onto that shortly because what you've been doing to achieve that, the hours you've been working, has been pretty crazy. You really have gone above and beyond. But yeah, I guess before that, for you, this was like your first ever mentorship. So for you to kind of, from my understanding, so for you to invest in yourself like that, I'd love to know, first of all, how did you find me and what made you really take that step to want to invest in support and get my help, really?
Yeah, definitely. So, my brother AJ, he actually introduced me to you and your channel. So, when he did that, I literally went on Shelley's channel and watched everything. Like, I went on her Instagram. I tried to find everything I could about her. I watched her case study as well, in fact. And I think what I loved was that Shelley just like you just seemed super genuine. You seemed very genuine and very authentic. And like you didn't have like a crazy amount of followers or anything at the time as well. And to me, actually, that's a really good thing because it means that you're going to be spending a bit more time with everyone in your program, and we get more one-on-one support as well, and just more attention and things like that. So just I was basically sold on Shelley's work ethic, essentially, like watching your videos and knowing that you'll do whatever it takes. As I was watching your videos, I think something just like shifted in my head. I was like, if I want to get these results as well, I need to have the same work ethic. And I remember going into the call with you, and I literally said, like, I'm obsessed. Like I'm basically ready to do anything. And yeah, I was so ready. I just needed the right vehicle, basically.
Yeah, 100%. I remember that very well. And here we are. And I guess that segues really well into like, tell us about how it was landing your first offer, like the experience of how that went, and how you felt kind of getting your foot into the industry.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm super grateful that you actually helped me with the referral and onboarding process there. So, like when I joined your program, I think April 19th or something, I think it was around 2 weeks after that, is when I landed that offer or the role in the offer. And pretty much that was like a very nerve-wracking experience, but I was very, very excited because I was just grateful for the opportunity. Like I remember I was at one of the training calls and you offered me that position and I was just like ecstatic. I was like, yes, I'm ready to do literally anything. And I didn't have any experience, as you know, in like sales. Yes, I had a bit of retail experience previously in customer service, but nothing really in high ticket. And so I knew that if I was going to do this, the only thing that would basically set me apart would be my work ethic. And just with my track record and everything I've done, like in the past as well for myself, like I know that if I'm willing to do something, I'll drop everything else, like literally everything else, and I would just be focused on that and get there no matter what, no matter how long it takes. Like I'm just gonna make sure I get there. So getting onto the offer, I was super, super excited. And I remember as soon as I was onboarded, like I was just fiddling around with everything. Like I've never used the CRM or the online platforms and things like that. I just went crazy. Like I went online, I messaged everyone. I was like, hi, I'm Karuna and I'm excited to be working here and just tried to get everything really organized. and
Mm.
started watching all the videos about the offer, trying to learn as much as I can. I think at that point, like there's a lot of adrenaline as well. So I was really
Yeah.
excited and I used it to my advantage. Like I was just every spare moment I had, literally, I was just watching whatever I could, speaking to the closers, the setters on the team, um, anyone I can to learn as much as I can. Like I hopped on one-on-one calls straight away with every
Mm.
single closer, all the setters, the setter manager, just getting as much information as I can. And that's all I was doing at the start, just getting as much information as possible, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what it takes. And we'll get on to what it takes in a moment. But that is it, isn't it? You can't come on and expect everything to be handed to you in these opportunities. You really do, especially as a beginner. Yes, it may be daunting, but it's so possible to land positions as a beginner if you have that mindset. Otherwise, you're just going to get fired if you come in and think, oh, like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm too shy. You kind of do, would you say you do have to put yourself out there? You do have to really push yourself out your comfort zone to hit the ground running with something like this.
Yeah, yeah, 100% I would say that. Like, I'm naturally a very introverted person and I always have been, but over time I've just tried to push myself out of my comfort zone because at the end of the day, like, no matter what you know, if you can't communicate it with other people, then
Mm.
what's the point, right? Like, so I always challenge myself and I was like, I don't care how uncomfortable it is, I'm gonna do it because what's the worst that can happen? Like, you're not gonna die, nothing's gonna happen. If you put in the time and the effort into developing yourself into yourself and doing these things, then 100% you're going to be able to achieve whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah, it's super funny you say that because I think every single woman that I've interviewed so far, and even in the program, say they're all introverted, including myself. And I actually think, like, if you are someone who's introverted, typically that would seem to be logically a reason why you wouldn't get into sales. But I actually think it's a reason why you should get into sales because I think naturally introverted people are not the life of the party. They sit back, they observe, they listen, and that's what you need to be a salesperson, right? You need to be able to um like listen and actively listen to a prospect's needs, which I think is super fascinating. And there was something else you mentioned, which I wanted to touch on, was the fact that I referred you to the offer. And I think it's super interesting because there's a lot of people offering kind of like guaranteed placements where you'll get placed into an offer that's maybe like super low quality, but as long as the trainer will uphold that guarantee, then their job's done. Whereas what we do here is very different in the sense that there are a lot of people I'm connected with. There are a lot of jobs that I can refer the girls in my program to, which I do pretty much weekly, but it's all based on like, do I see the girls coming into the program and working hard? Like the opportunity that I was able to kind of help you with was a huge opportunity, like one of the best in the space. And it's because I saw your mindset, because I saw what you have. So I think there is a beauty to kind of having that one-on-one relationship of me being able to guide you and for me be able to hand you those opportunities without any fee, without any charge, because I see that you have what it takes. Like, what was your thought about that? Obviously, you knew there was no guarantees coming into this, but then I was able to just refer you on. Like, how did that feel for you?
Honestly, like I can't even explain how it felt. I just felt like so grateful because the thing is that I felt like you believed in me
Mm.
more than I believed in myself. And I don't know what you saw in me. Maybe you saw something that I didn't, but just coming in, I just thought I was like some, just like everyone else, and it's going to take me heaps of time to actually land a role or something. But I know that my mindset was there, and like you mentioned, the with the guarantee, right? Like, there's no point just being guaranteed any job. Like, I don't believe in that, having like a job guarantee or something in an offer, especially. So I think what you did for me was really, really amazing. I was really overwhelmed actually because I was like, oh, like I think when I went in the offer, the setter manager was like, oh, like Shelley's referred you. That means you must be good. And I was like, oh, now I actually have to up to it. It's like setting that expectation. So I was like, I have to, uphold Shelley's name and I don't want to obviously let her down and let myself down as well. So I was really, really excited. And everyone had very high hopes of me as well. Like no one on the team was like, oh, she's a beginner. She doesn't know anything. Like, let's just leave her alone. Everyone was really supportive. And from day one, everyone really invested in me. Even the founders, like they gave me this opportunity as well having no experience, like this could have been, a big risk to them as well, but they really believed in me. They asked me what my story was, and I told them my motivation, and even they were like, we feel like you're going to crush it just based on your mindset. And, it has worked to an extent. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I remember at that time as well, I just I couldn't believe it because literally like two weeks or 3 weeks before that, I saw Ananya's case study and she was making like 9K in her first 2 weeks. And I was like, wow, like I just wish that one day like this can be me. And it's sort of like a full circle effect now. Like I'm in that position and still can't believe it. I haven't digested it yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I get you. I don't think I've still digested my journey either, even today. So I think it's just one of those things that it never feels real because it's kind of a crazy, crazy journey. But yeah, I love that and it's very well deserved, absolutely. And I know, obviously, speaking about the offer that you're on, you are one of a few women in the team. There's not many, it's very male dominated, the male dominated closers, founders, team, etc. So, what's that like being one of the only women in the team?
Yeah, so it's different. It's also a good thing actually because we get to obviously embrace being a woman, and well, Shabelle's on the team with me as well, so that's really good. She's also in your program, which is exciting. So we always, bond a little bit, and it's nice to have her on the team because we can obviously have like little girl chats. But yeah, just in terms of like the whole team, I feel like we fit quite well with the culture. It's just very, very laid back, very chill. Like everyone's really driven and is a hustler essentially. And being women, like I feel like we definitely have an advantage because obviously women are seen as nurturers, they're like, looking after other people. So usually people trust women more. So that's definitely an advantage.
Mm.
And I feel like people are nicer to women, so that's a good thing as well. But yeah, just with the team, I feel like there's no like discrimination or anything. Like everyone is super, super lovely and yeah, I'm super happy to be on the team.
I
Yeah.
love that 100%. And I was going to ask, like, do you feel now you're working in the industry, you've pretty much answered it, but do you feel there is an advantage for women? Like, if there's a woman watching this thinking sales is still like very bro culture and it's, you can't be like feminine energy, you have to be very like hustle. Do you feel that there is a space for women and an advantage for women in the industry?
Yeah, 100%. I know that there's not enough women in the industry. If anything, it's a very male dominated actually industry in the high ticket space, but women can excel and they can really do so, so well. Like I've seen Chabelle, she's only been on the offer for like a couple months now and she's crushing it. She's doing so good and she's very new as well. Whereas some of the guys have been there for a long time. So I think as women, like we definitely have that advantage that we can also use in sales. So I think as women, we shouldn't shy away from this industry. If anything, we should use it to our advantage because we can be in our feminine energy as well. And that obviously leads to prospects, trusting us a bit more and feeling more comfortable with us. And yeah, I think it's a super good thing being a woman in this industry.
Yeah, me too. And I actually think having that, like working with other guys as well in the space, like you said, you actually enjoy it, that it's more male dominated sometimes because you can learn a lot from instead of it necessarily being a woman only team, which are also pretty good. I think having that mix of energy and that mix of like grind and then that feminine can teach you a lot. Because like for you, you have to have a side of you where you are like working really hard, which we're about to get onto, and in your masculine, but then you're earning great money where, like we said, you can just take yourself to get your nails done or your hair done or buy what you want when you want now because you have the finances to and you can give yourself that nicer life, which I think is amazing. And yeah, something that I think a lot of women, especially me when I was more like corporate, struggled to. Because I don't know about you, but for me, for the most part, I was living very much paycheck to paycheck. So money was always a stress. So I was always feeling like kind of weighed down with that. Did you find that too compared to now? Or how do you feel the differences with earning from kind of corporate to sales income?
It's very different, but it's a good different because what I feel is when I was in my 9 to 5 job, like I was pretty much capped. Every month I would earn a certain amount, and no matter how hard I work, I'm gonna get the same amount, whether I work hard, whether I don't work hard. Like obviously, I always work ethic is super important to me, so I love putting in all my effort, but I just felt capped. And so that's what I loved about getting into sales, which is your work ethic and like how good you are is actually rewarded. So it's not a case of you're going to be earning like the same amount if you're just putting in a lot of effort. If you put in effort, if you put in more time, you're going to get rewarded for that. And you can actually increase your income, you can scale that. And that can allow you to do like other things like, treat yourself or look after your family and do things like that. So that part of it has been really good. And that's one thing that keeps me motivated every day to just keep pushing and pushing. And like I struggle to take days off because of it. I know I need to, but it's one good thing about sales. It's a very like it's an industry where it depends on how good you are and how much effort you put in. That's what I
Mm.
love about.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us what it takes. What's a day in the life? What does it really take? And guys, take this with a pinch of salt because Karuna is balancing two things because I don't know what she's about to say. But what does it actually take to ramp up and get started in sales?
Yeah. When I told people this, or when I told the girls in the community, I think I shocked a lot of people. And I didn't realize at the time, but I think it was very, like, super crazy. So I was working a full-time job, 9 to 5, when I got into Shelley's program. And because I was fearful of just quitting my job straight away and jumping into sales, because I don't know if I'm going to be matching the income straight away or how long it's going to take. I wanted to have that security for myself and for my family, just make sure that I can pay the bills and cover myself while I can navigate the sales industry as well. So how it began was when I started my offer. It's a US based offer, so the timing is very different. I'm based in Australia myself, so what that means is I was waking up at 2 a.m. every day religiously in the morning. Then I would be triaging, setting on my offer. I would work from 2 a.m. until about like 8 a.m. in the morning. And then I would quickly get ready and then go to my 9 to 5 job, which would finish at maybe 9, sometimes, sorry, finish at 5, sometimes 5:30 or so. And then I would finish up there. I would rush back home, get home about 6:30 or so. I would have like a 1 hour power nap from like 7 to 8 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., I would have the daily sales meetings that we have as part of the offer every day. So I wanted to make sure I attended everything because I got heaps out of those meetings. So I attended from 8 to 9 p.m. every day. And then I would sleep from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then wake up again. Now, some days I would have a little bit less time where I was working. So maybe I would, take leave for one day or try to do something like that. So I could get a little bit more sleep. Or on the weekends, for example, like I would basically just sleep whenever I had time. But that's honestly what I had to do to make it work because I was not ready to quit my full-time job just yet until I had a bit of a proven concept with what I was doing. So that's what I did for the first month. I think I started like in the second week of May. So I was doing that religiously in May. And then the whole point was I want to prove myself. So I didn't let myself give any excuse whatsoever. And like, obviously, I had my brother as well who was motivating me. But, because I could be easily replaceable. If I didn't put in the work ethic, if I didn't put in the hours, if I didn't prove myself there and then, I could be easily replaceable. And like Shelley, like you put me on one of like the best offers in the space. So I was so grateful and I knew that everyone wanted it. So I was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Doesn't matter how tired I am, doesn't matter what I'm going through. I'm gonna make sure it works out. So that's what I did in May. I did that in June as well. And then now I've started cutting down on my hours. So I'm dropped to about part-time and then hopefully transition out completely out of the full-time role. fully into sales.
And it's a lot of people was watching that. First of all, like you said, you are in Australia. So let's say if you're watching this from the US, you're not going to have to do something as drastic because you'll be lucky with your time zone that you can just work in the evenings and then have a normal sleep schedule. But the point of this is you have to do what you've never done if you want what you've never had. And I think you've proven that. And if you were doing this for the next 6 months, I would tell you that's not healthy. Like maybe we should think it twice. But the fact that you've done this for 2 months, 2 months to change the rest of your life. And I think not many people are prepared to do something like that. I did something very similar when I was on my first offer. I was scared to quit it to go to my second one. So I had a bit of a crossover. Um, and the hours were similar. But then the rest of my life was then paved, if that makes sense. The rest of my career, rather, not to be dramatic, but was then I paved the way for myself. And I think to have that mindset where knew that you had to do that, but now, like you said, you've reduced your hours, and hopefully by August you can be full-time sales. You'll have even more time than you ever had. Like you said, you're at home with your family more. Like, was it worth it? How do you feel doing that? Because maybe a lot of people would think, whoa, I could never do it. But what was your perspective when you were doing that?
100%. I think what you said is a really good point. Like when I was doing all this, in my mind, I told myself that I'm not going to do this forever. No way. But I need to do this when I'm starting out to make a name for myself, to prove myself, because now that like you've given me the vehicle, I just need to use it to my advantage and just prove myself as much as possible. And then once I've proven myself, once I fall into the routine, then I can obviously like progress from there and then look into like a closing role as well. And then my hours will get a lot better. So yeah, I have a lot more freedom with my time as well. Like I get to work remotely. I can literally work from anywhere. Obviously not at the beach, but maybe near the beach possibly. But yeah, I love to just work from home. Like I have my dog sitting next to me sometimes. Like it's just amazing because at the moment I'm doing triaging and setting, so it's all like phone based. It's not camera facing yet. So I literally wake up like I can be in my PJs. Like it's really cool. Like I don't have to worry too much about traveling somewhere and coming back home. So that saved a lot of my time. And one thing I realized since starting sales is that time is so valuable. Like anything I can do to save time now, I will do that. Whether it's like investing in someone to get my time back so that I can get on the right vehicle and then get to where I want quickly, or if I can just, save time by not traveling somewhere, like for example, to work or so, like that's so valuable because in that time, for example, like I could have made, X amount of money in sales. So time is so valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And what does your family think about this, about the transformation you've had?
Yeah. So at the start, they were like, I didn't tell them too much because I feel like no one's going to understand this at all.
Mm.
So at the start, they were really questioning what I'm doing, and they knew that my brother was in the space, so they weren't super skeptical. But then over time, they saw me working like the crazy hours, and they was like, "Oh, what's happening here?" And the other day, like I explained to them everything about what I've done and what I've achieved, and they are like they're ecstatic. They're very, very happy and they're super proud of me. And yeah, I'm just happy that I can, look after them better and do things for them, which I wasn't able to do before, like take them out or maybe, financially help them out as well. And it's such a good thing. And I think that because now they can physically see how I can actually help, uh, they're very, very happy and they're really proud of me as well. So yeah.
100%. I absolutely love that. And I think there are a lot of people watching and a lot of lovely girls in my program whose parents were so skeptical. Like you said, you were a little bit lucky in the sense you had your brother. So your parents weren't like, absolutely not. But we have some women in the program whose parents are like, you should not do this. This is the worst idea. And then they get their first paycheck and their parents are like, whoa. And I think it's such a good lesson to learn because like for me and my mum are like absolutely best friends. But when I got into the industry, she had no idea what I was doing. And she was never negative about it, but she was skeptical. And for me, I was just like, I've got to do it. Like I know that this is the path that I have to pursue. So for you, would you say you felt the same, like regardless of whether they felt skeptical? not in a disrespectful way that you didn't listen, but you kind of thought, well, I have to take matters into my own hands. And regardless of opinions, I know what I need to do.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think that definitely at the start they were a bit more skeptical, and I think what I did was I just didn't explain too much and I didn't say too much about what was happening, and I knew that if I can prove it, then it's going to speak for itself rather than me trying to tell them and explain what's happening. I just put in the work ethic, and they saw me doing all of that, and over time I think it just made sense, and I think that's really the main thing, just being able to show the actual results and the fruits of the labor. Like
Mm.
that's the main thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess coming back to today then, what has been your biggest learnings from the journey and working in the female accelerator with myself?
I think just overall, like it's been an amazing experience and I've learned so much. I've made so many amazing connections. And I think one of the main things is actually mindset. Mindset is something that I had to really figure out at the start and then overcome, my fears and things like that as well. But I think with the community, especially, that helped me a lot. Obviously, you were very, you had belief in me, which was really, really good. And then I also had, I made a few friends like Gabia, Sandra, Jade at the start. Like, it was good, hopping on calls with the girls and just sharing our experiences. I remember I was talking to Jennifer and we were both working like corporate jobs and we were like, oh, how are we going to make this work? Like, is there even a way out of this? How am I going to be able to match my income? But I think just having that support with everyone, that was really a big thing because I don't think I would have been able to do this by myself. Like that community is super important and having you there, like you're in the position where like I would have wanted to be at the start. So I knew that if I have someone there who's literally walk the walk. Um, you know, so if I have someone like that, then what chance is there that I'm not going to be able to achieve what I want to achieve? And like, with everyone, you're the average of the five people that you surround yourself with. I hear that a lot, and I think that's so, so true. Just being in a community of such driven women, like everyone is so driven. I love chatting to like all the girls, all the new girls as well in the community, and I think I just love seeing everyone super motivated and excited because this is not something that you can really like explain to your friends like in the real world. No one's going to understand and support you with that because obviously they have our best interest at heart, so they're going to tell us do the safe route, like do your 9 to 5, you don't need to do this, like you're good. But with the girls here, they have such a different mindset. Like they really understand the cost of inaction. So if you don't do something, what's that going to cost you in the long run? Like either you stay in the current position now, and then stay like that and just have like a very stagnant sort of growth. Or you can invest in yourself and get the skills, knowledge, and the resources and the people, of course, that you need. And then at the start, it's going to be very stagnant. Like I'm pretty sure I made $0 in my first 2 weeks. So it was sort of like that. And then after a while, like after 2 weeks, it was like that basically. So the growth is like exponential. And I've also learned that you just have to keep going. Like if I just stopped when I was making $0, like at times I felt very a little bit discouraged because I was putting in like so many hours. I was working every free second that I had and I wasn't making anything. But then I kept doing what I needed to do. Like I kept going through your trainings, I kept hopping on one-on-one calls with everyone and just trying to get the reps in as much as possible. And then there came a point where that dedication and the discipline actually like paid off. And then I made my first sale. I got my first set which closed and my triage which closed. And that was like crazy because internet money didn't feel real after that. Like it was crazy.
I remember the day you messaged me, you're like, Shelley, look what I've done. And it's amazing. That first commission, nothing beats the feeling because it's finally like a proven concept once you see that money. So yeah, I love that. And how would you describe the program structure of the Female Sales Accelerator for someone who's not in here, who's a bit curious of what we do? Like, what would be your feedback? How would you describe it?
Yeah, 100%. So obviously with the course, it's all structured in a really nice way. So it starts from like triaging, setting. I think even before that, there's a lot of other things that you've got in there, which are really, really good. It starts off with mindset and it starts off with a whole bunch of things that you actually need for this industry because it's not all just learning the content and then that's it. Like you actually have to put in extra effort. Like you got to be networking, you got to be like putting yourself out there, documenting your journey. Because at the end of the day, like even with how I got my position, it was based on referral, right? So I didn't even have to do an interview or anything. So it's all about like the people that you know. And so Shelley, like, you walked us through how to do all of that, A to Z essentially. And then obviously you've got like the triaging setting section, and there's a whole bunch of calls as well. I remember the first day when I joined, I literally went through like everything as much as I could, especially for the triaging setting section, because I knew that's what I wanted when I started out. And yeah, went through all of that. Obviously, we get like your mentorship, which is super invaluable, one-on-one support, and like 24/7. I can message you at any point. And like you're super quick as well. I feel like if anything, I'm the delayed one. Like I take forever to reply, but anytime I need something, like the other day I needed help with like DM setting, and like you were working on something at the time. Like you're always working on improving all the material. Like every time, I see you're always working on something. So even just, helping me out when I need it, like that was really, really valuable. And like I mentioned before, like you get a community of all the girls, which like everyone is willing to invest in themselves and is very, very driven with the same mindset. And I feel like you can't find that. Like that's very rare to find. And because everyone's in the same position, like they have invested into this, they are ready to give it their all. That's a really, really good thing that I got out of this program as well, like the community, really driven women, which I loved. But yeah, your mentorship, super invaluable. And that's the main thing that I got out of it as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How has life changed for you, Karuna?
Honestly, to be completely honest, I'm still at the point where I'm digesting all of this, and I still can't believe that I just, hit the 10K mark last month. But I think now it's more like trying to get out of the survival mode mentality that I was sort of in before, and just trying to remember that, like I'm working hard, but I also need to treat myself at times. So when I was going through May and June, like I took 0 days off, zero rest days. I was just working really hard. And then yeah, like the setter manager, he called me up. He's like, You're working really hard. Like you need to take a break now." So I took one day off, and someone else covered for me, like another setter. And I think that actually helped because I realized that you need breaks as well. Otherwise, you're just going to get like burnt out, and then you're not going to be efficient like you were before. So I realized that when I took that break, because the day before I took that day off, I made like $0. And then I took the day off, fully relaxed. I got on the next day, and then I think like I triaged, and then the day after that, I made like $900 in one day. Like it was crazy. And then I was like, okay, going forward, I need to make sure that I prioritize myself and give myself the rest that I need and deserve, because it can get very easy to just get like super like into this whole thing. But you got to remember that like rest is really important. And that's
Yeah,
something that I'm working on right now as well. So you really have to like check in with yourself. That's something I've started to do a bit more now, and hopefully treat myself a bit more as well, which I'm not used to. But going forward, I'll try to do that as well.
I love that. And what are your goals from here? Like, where do you want to be in the next 6 months?
Yeah. Wow. Next 6 months. See, the thing is, I remember when I told you my goal of 10K, which meant to hit at the end of the year, but then I hit it. So then now it's like I just need to readjust basically. So I think for me, realistically, and what I would like to achieve would be hitting the 20K mark in the next 6 months, like by the end of the year. And to be able to do that, I would definitely need to move into a closing position as well. So that's what I'm working towards now. And like I've got, everyone available like on the team, which is super, super helpful. All the closers, like they're always ready to jump on calls with me, learning so much. Like, my brother AJ, like Reese, like all of them super helpful to me. And I feel like that's really, really helping me in um, basically like accelerate my learning. And so hopefully that will help me with my next role, hopefully, if I can get to the closing position, and then potentially hit the 20K mark by end of year.
That's insane. Thinking about you from where you started to now you're planning 20K a month. That's incredible. And you're going to get there. There's no question in my mind that you're not going to achieve that. So that's super exciting, and I can't wait to support you along that journey. But yeah, I guess to finalize, with that being said, it seems like a very full circle moment. So if there's maybe a beginner watching or someone watching that's sitting on the fence that don't know whether they should join the Female Sales Accelerator or not, should they get into sales, should they not? What would you have to say to them?
Yeah. That was honestly where, like, the position that I was in when I started, because obviously I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or not. But then when I watched all of your videos, I felt so comfortable. And I remember watching like all the case studies, like Ananya, Haley, Shabelle, and like that was really motivating for me as well, because it's all about like there's either two things. I really thought about it. It's either if you're skeptical to join, it's either you're not believing in like the program, so not believing in Shelley, or you're not believing in yourself. So which one is it, you know? Because when I went on Shelley's profile, I saw you've got like so many girls are doing great. Like Carmen's in Bali right now, like loving life. It's amazing. Like the proven concept is there. If we put in the effort and the time, it's going to happen. So then what I realized is that it's actually on me. I need to take accountability. Am I going to, put in the time and the effort? And am I basically going to put a bet on myself? Like, am I going to make sure that I'm showing up, I'm doing everything that's required, and doing all the inputs required so that I can get the outputs? Because, like, obviously, if I didn't put my faith in you, you can't help me anyway, you know? So I feel like I had to put, when I came in, I trusted you 100%. And then, like, the results just speak for themselves. So I think it's very, very important to start by just shifting that mindset and just thinking about, like, are we happy in the position that we're in right now? Because for me, I had that motivator of, I wasn't feeling really too happy because I felt like I had a lot of potential in me, but I just wasn't able to hit it. I knew I wanted to do something, but I needed the vehicle. I didn't know what vehicle it was going to be, but then I came across Shelley and I was like, okay, this could be something I can potentially do. And I really liked what I saw. You know, you were super authentic. So I thought, if I believe in myself, I'm going to jump in. And then, if I can believe in Shelley, Shelley believes in me, and then we can get the results that we want. So that's sort of how it all panned out.
I love it. Absolutely. And here we are talking about 20K months. But yeah, thank you so much, Karuna, for coming on today and sharing your journey. I know genuinely how inspiring this will be for so many women, especially with your background coming from like a more corporate 9 to 5 into transitioning into sales. I know that will resonate with so many people. So thank you again. And yeah, we'll wrap it up here. So if you've enjoyed this, case study, guys, let us know, leave a comment below. And if you are a woman on the fence, not sure whether you should or shouldn't get started, there'll be a link down below in my bio. Book a call with myself. We'll speak personally. We'll see if there's a route for you. And yeah, we'll take it from there. But thanks, guys. See you in the next one.
Thanks, Shelley.